Well, greetings and welcome to our devotion time today. We have been in Genesis a while now. We have been in the days of Noah, and we have been studying here lately Genesis chapter 6, and we are getting ready to move past this. We've seen the character of Noah, that God has called this man to bring salvation to the world. Then these past few days, we've been looking at how God views the earth, and we saw that it was corrupt, it was filled with violence, and they had chosen their own path. And a response needed to be made about that. And as we move towards the story of the flood, I wanted to set in our minds an idea of what is going on here, because if you continue this study in Noah on your own, you're going to find a lot of commentaries that I think have some half-baked ideas about what the Bible's trying to convey here. You'll run across a lot of commentaries, teachings. There are many people who think and they teach that when God brought the flood of this flood on the earth, that the Creator of heaven and earth turned upon His own creation and destroyed all life except for these 8 human beings and a multitude of animals that won the ticket to the ark, so to speak. And I guess in a sense we can say, yeah, that's true, but the reality is there's much more to that. And so the whole truth is that it was humanity, it was the human beings, the 10 generations that had been separated from the Garden of Eden that brought on this act. They were acting independent from God, and it was this broken humanity, this sin that they just wrapped themselves into, that destroyed the earth. And that, I think, is what truly the story is trying to convey to us. Humanity had become so corrupted it just couldn't simply continue any longer. Its existence needed a radical transformation. I think this is what the story is trying to convey. The whole truth is that God's intervention was an act of grace. And maybe when we see the tragedy there, we think, how can anybody say that? But I believe with all my heart that this is what the story is telling us here. It took this dramatic event, this intervention of God, to save humanity. And so the story, even though it's a flood and even though there's much, much tragedy involved in that, it is an act of grace. A painful, I guess we'd say a painful and necessary surgery that was the world's or humankind's only hope of survival. And I hope we can see that in this story, that we can understand that life would have gone on for a day, a year, a millennial, but if it wasn't for the flood, life really wouldn't be worth living. This is what our story is leading us to, and humanity would not have and could not have redeemed itself. This is what that story is shouting out to us, that we as people can't do this. We can't make enough laws. We can't bring up enough leadership, train leadership enough to save humanity. The salvation of humanity is going to take a divine act. And as we study the flood, don't think of God acting and sending the waters as a horrible act of an angry, irrational, unapproachable deity bent on our destruction. See it for what it is, an act of tough love brought on by a merciful Creator who is both hopelessly in love with the creature called man and fully devoted to our survival and our fulfillment of life. All right, I'll leave you with those thoughts today, and I pray you'll have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Blessings now.